Good evening, all of you. Uh, this small film, these days in the last 1 year, whenever I do any session, I just run it uh, because this is something this entire crisis of COVID last year, and especially the displacement and the way people were walking on the roads. I'm still referring the last year. This year again, it is much more devastating. Uh, Somewhere I would say that broke me in a very different way, because although like for last 2 decades, almost 22 years now, and now with a team of almost 1,000 people, and trying to be there in terms of response to any disaster, I've been there and I've spent a huge amount of time. And also I consider disaster a leveler. So even when the institution is established, every single big disaster happen, I go with my camera myself and spend some time. And that's where you realize, because people like us, as you, Tanushree, you just started talking about lot of awards, lot of recognition, standing ovation. And also I always feel that you don't know, on say any particular day something can go here, and then that particular day you're gone forever, right? I mean, the day you have that guru or that pride or whatever. uh, so disaster becomes a leveler, and I spend a huge amount of time there, click pictures, try to set up things, whatever. And unfortunately you see large number of dead bodies, you see distress, you see destruction. But never in my life, at least, I thought that something like this will happen, that our next door people will start walking, despite the fact that they actually knew that the roads are blocked. It is actually locked down. Trains are not running. Uh, they didn't know the distance. They only knew that you, even by bus and train put together, you actually walk, or you actually, even in train or bus, you take 2 days or 3 nights or whatever. So I often think that what was that people were forced to walk? What was that people didn't trust us? And how come in the last 1 year we actually forgot everything? We were busy in so many festivals, in elections, and so many things as Aam Janta also. How come we forgot that millions of people who made houses for us, who set up telephone lines for us, who laid internet lines for us, because of whom we are even today doing Zoom, because of whom we are getting cooked food from outside. And a large number of us, in this country, unfortunately, think that technology is a solution for everything, because people need to sell technology. That's the new buzzword, that's the new business. And I often tell people that by creating roti.com, you don't provide roti. At the end of the day, we are privileged. Fine, we have all kind of apps. We can order food, but do we understand that even in the life of a burger, the potato is grown by someone, bread is made by someone, burger is made by someone, and ultimately it is delivered by someone, and that someone is a human being. That's not a machine. That's not, technology does not do anything there. Potato is to be grown by a farmer, the farmer who is in the queue, farmer who is sitting at the farmer who has been subsidizing food for me and you, farmer who has been giving us food for decades, and farmer who does not get minimum price for his or her labor. Because I believe farming is the only big profession in the country which does not have minimum wages law. I mean, the day me and you start paying minimum wages to the farmer, how many of us can touch even rice? And we forgot that the people who made houses for us actually remained homeless. They started walking. So my question on all these conferences, which celebrate the social enterprise and all that, and unfortunately I see, and I'm being very upfront all, but how many of you actually dare to go in the social sector? That's the question. Is it not the fact that 70-80% of the population, the eligible students of this country, do not even cross the 10th standard or do not even go to the schools? And even then, it is so complicated for us to clear these examinations. And I am being upfront in telling you, these guys, I mean, telling you this in very simple, straightforward word, because this virus has given us a chance to rethink on what we are doing and what is needed. What was actually working, in this country was the toilets or the small school structure of the village, which didn't have toilets, unfortunately, and which were actually the centers for the people who were walking back. The bus stands were important, the municipalities were important, the government hospitals were important, the public health centers were important, which are grossly ignored. If we have survived this particular disaster, if we have not lost ourselves, it's time that we really change the way we are building the societies. Those millions of people marrowed a thappad on us. वो थप्पड़ मार के गए थे हमको when they started walking on the road because they didn't trust us. The driver, because of whom we are enjoying our life, didn't trust us. The house help didn't trust us. The press wali didn't trust us. The sabji wali didn't trust us. So what kind of society are we building, right? If we are really talking about social enterprise, this and that, my question is that why do you need a social enterprise? Why do you need so many people? I mean, we all can say, whole lot of things about NGOs. Some jokers even say 3 million NGOs. They don't know where is that data. At least we have not seen that data. Fine. Uh, Even RWAs are NGOs. Even uh, BCCI is an NGO that way. All the schools, all the agencies, everything is an NGO. Fine. That way, because they all are registered. They're minting money like anything. They're also NGOs. Now, if you see last year, who were there at the forefront? Who were there at the forefront? The big leaders, the corporate leaders, or the average citizen of this country and the voluntary sector which was there, or the doctors of the government hospital and the nurses of the government hospitals. So time to really, really change, time to understand that what are the issues which are bothering this country. Uh, in very small way, I can just tell you that this country really, really suffers because of the non-issues, not just the issues which we think are the issues. When we started in 1998, when I left the Scots and Gunj was formed, we didn't know what is NGO all about. We didn't know what is social sector all about. So such social enterprise, I mean, I didn't even know how many E's come in entrepreneurs. I'm a Hindi medium student. I didn't started to become a social entrepreneur. Later on, someone came and told me that you are a social entrepreneur. I said, okay, fine. I mean, whether I am a social entrepreneur or not, I mean, I have a purpose. I just need to do that, and I need to do that in that way. It might qualify in their social enterprise, definition. But we started working on a non-issue, and non-issue was the non-issue of clothing. I mean, imagine three basic needs: roti, kapda, makan. And if you talk about the development issues across the globe, from domestic violence to global warming, and now pandemic and displacement and whatnot, you will never find clothing written as a subject. And it is so important that even when we are on Zoom, we all are wearing clothes, and the country which really recognizes who is poor, who is rich, cultured, uncultured, literate, illiterate, everything with a piece of cloth. Very, very unfortunate. Out there, clothing has never been written a subject like a subject. We are not understanding that more people in this country, in this world, die due to lack of clothing than earthquake or floods, and it's a highly, highly preventable death. And see, I mean, why I'm trying to tell you this story, uh, because as a social entrepreneur, one of the important thing, and that's how I differ in many, many definition. I always say that one role which social entrepreneurs tries to place is that we try to fill the gaps. We try to fill the gaps in the existing system. We don't create new needs like many other businesses. We first try to tackle what is there. So this clothing was one of the agenda. Later on, few years later, we also decided, and we also realized, and I just saw one of the example, when the earlier presentations were happening, that crores of women and girls, not millions, are actually using sand as jute bags, rugs, rags, newspaper, grass, dry leaf, cow dung, गाय भैंस का गोबर during their menses as sanitary pad. We found a case, that's how the journey started, where a lady used a piece of blouse which had a hook and she died of tetanus. In 2004-5, if you go on Google God and type sanitary pad, sanitary napkin, there was no major research, no problem statement, no solution in this country. Now, each one of you who is here uh, has an opportunity to create a big empire just based on the menstrual hygiene issue. You will still make profits. You will still be called an entrepreneur. but you will also be able to solve some really, really big issue. This country does not need either or. This country actually needs and. This country does not need all those useless intellectual debates which model is good, which model is not. Whatever model is working, you should just do that, because we have scope for everything. And please remember, charity will not solve any problem. Charity kills dignity of people. Without dignity, you cannot think of development. Charity is a very beautiful subject for the doer of it with all the good intentions. I'm not doubting your intention. But have you ever gone to the person who receives charity and asked that person, are you really liking it? Then you will get a real answer. So our model is simple, almost 6,000 tons of material, uh, cloth, utensil, footwear, all kind of second-hand material we collect. We segregate it, we sort it, we match the need of people, because one of the biggest problem with the donation mindset is that you give what you have, you don't need what people, you don't give what people need. So we also said that the donation word has to go. The moment you are giving anything second-hand, it's not a donation, it's a discard. You are giving it because you don't need it. Let's change the definition and let's start respecting the person who is receiving it, because that person is the keeper of your emotions. That person is really is the keeper of our hard-earned money, which is converted into material. So we match the need of people, and we convert that into the kits and all. Then it goes to the village India, a very large scale infrastructure, water sanitation work we take up. So last year we repaired, or we made almost about 300 kilometers of village road, hundreds and hundreds of water bodies, thousands of kitchen gardens. This is completely done by the village people. They decided what work has to happen. After a few days of work, they received this family kit of the urban underutilized or not to be used kind of material, which is still usable. So that's how this entire model works. We also started creating my pad, which is a sanitary pad. So any cotton cloth which we receive from people is converted into sanitary pads. Millions of pads have been made. More important part, the Shramdan, the community labor is back. The barter economy is back. All of us need to understand that money is not the only currency. Money is one of the currency. Please remember that. So in our game, labor is a currency, wisdom is a currency, material is a currency, and the right to do something for the village is gone to the people. They decide the problem, they find the solution, because it's very unfortunate that people like us go and we decide on the problem and we decide on the solution. We don't make the people a stakeholder. So we don't use the word donor and beneficiary. For us, the only word which we use is stakeholder. Dignity is important. And last point, and maybe that is what we all need to understand, the farmers in this country who have come out with almost 6,000 variety of rice are still called unskilled. People like me and you who write a paper on agriculture are called skilled. We bring them to the city, give them 1 week's plumber training, start calling them skilled. So I think the language and lenses need to change if we really want to do something meaningful in the society. The arrogance of wearing good clothes and speaking more than one language, and the education in the best possible institute, which I also had a lot. I must be having a lot even today, but I just try to shed it as much as possible so that villages become our universities and we just become the catalyst. Thank you very much. I will stop here.